Hi, my name is Rachel Armstrong, and this is my presentation on motivating students with a behavioral plan for Dr. Lewis in fall 2016. A behavioral intervention plan is something that is designed for a specific student that you can try and help them to learn and change their behavior. It is written and designed just for that student, and it's a student-by-student basis. Once the function has been determined, the plan should help that student. These are thought of as a plan to support the student in order to help them change the behavior that is being brought up or that they're having a hard time with in class. Effective support plans consist of different interventions or support strategies that are not punishment. The positive behavioral intervention plans increase the acquisition and use new alternative skills that help to decrease problematic behavior and support improvements for that student. The plan should focus on the whole child and different coping strategies as well as being proactive. The BIP, which is the Behavioral Intervention Plan, as I said before, it's designed as a student-by-student, case-by-case basis. This is a function that helps the student, you identify the behavioral problem, and then the individual education program, the IEP, team can help you develop the correct intervention plan for the student. And then these you can help teach the child replacement behaviors. You can reward the child for using socially accepted behaviors. You can teach the child to avoid behavioral triggers, teaching them to identify different emotions that can cause some behaviors, changing responses to the adults. You can change negative stimuli in the environment that can help trigger these behavior problems. You can identify a caring adult and give positive time at school. Support the child at problematic times. Sometimes we don't know what's causing the behavior. Something could be going on at home or in the family or outside, outside of school that is causing the child to act like this, especially if it's not something that's common. Sometimes it can be possible to modify the environment for that student when you implement the preventative strategies. In some of these, the teacher can state clear expectations. You can modify seating arrangements, adapting the pace of the instruction, and avoiding exposing the student to long delays. You can provide different choices and activities that allows the student to take different breaks and different modifications for the lesson plans. There are 3 different types of alternative skill introduction. Replacement skills or behaviors must serve the exact same function as the problematic behavior. More general skills alter the problem situation and help prevent the need for the problem behavior. These skills may include academic instruction, if academic deficits are the main reason the student has behavioral issues. Coping and tolerance skills such as anger management are things that students can learn to do when they are faced with difficult situations. And then replacement behaviors, this can serve as the same function, and they have the same meaning for the student. It's important that the behavior be something the student is capable of doing, and that can be socially acceptable in the context. The behavioral must be immediately effective and tolerable to the teacher. An effective replacement behavior must fit into the natural environment of the school and classroom for that specific setting and that specific student. And the replacement behavior can be at least as effective as the problem behavior. The amount of physical effort required, the ease with the others can interpret the behavior. The likelihood that the behavior will produce the desired result, and then the delay between the behavior and the desired result or function must be the equivalent or less than the original behavior. Comprehensive behavior plans. You can teach the child, like I said before, replacement behaviors. You want to reward them for using social accepted behavior. It doesn't have to be a physical reward. It can be a compliment. It could be extra recess. It could be they can be the teacher help, or just different things to show that you are proud of them for changing their behavior and giving by the guidelines you have set in the classroom. And then as teachers, we want to help them avoid the triggers that cause these problems. If we can do that, that can definitely downsize any of the behavior problems they have. And if they can identify the emotions that cause these behavioral problems, they may be able to stop them before they happen or learn what caused them. And then you want to teach them how they're going to talk to adults, how they're going to talk to teachers, how they're going to talk to their peers, and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And then you want to change the negative stimuli in the environment. There are some kids that different things can trigger how they act, or what can stress them out differently. You can stress out kids too busy if something can make kids uncomfortable and anxious. And then you want to identify a caring adult at that school, like a counselor or teacher, someone that can help that child if they do have a breakdown or something is going on. And always be supportive of that child, because a lot of times you may not know exactly what is going on outside the classroom because you see what's going on inside the classroom. Motivating students. This is actually one of the hardest components when you become a teacher. It's learning how to motivate your students. This is one of the most important components in teaching, though. Motivating students can be difficult, but the rewards far outweigh the challenges. A great teacher can make learning fun, and you can inspire them to reach their full potential. 5 ways for motivating students. You want to encourage students. Students look to teachers for approval and positive reinforcement. They are also more likely to be enthusiastic about learning if they feel their work is recognized and valued. Try to always encourage open communication and free thinking with your students to make them feel important. Getting them involved. One way to encourage students and teach them responsibly is to get them involved in the classroom. You can make participating fun, and you can give each student a different job to do and rotate it out throughout the week, the lessons that you do, and the different subjects. When you give them responsibility, it can help them feel wanted, feel needed, and they want to produce more. Assign a student. You can assign them to erase the blackboards or give hall pass out materials. And you can also have them take turns asking sections of different subjects out loud. Make them work in small groups, and you can assign a task or role for each student. You can also offer incentives. Setting expectations and making reasonable demands to encourage your students to participate is a good thing, but it can sometimes be hard for them to want to do, and they need an extra push in the right direction, as many of us can do at times. Offering students different incentives, sometimes small, sometimes large, that are fun and motivating, will help them push themselves. Any incentive can range from different forms, from privileges like extra recess, an exemplary student reward, a class pizza party, an ice cream party, and then showing them their test scores rising and what the impacts it has on the school and the classes. And then you can give students a sense of accomplishment and encourage them with the work they have and the different goals that you have in mind that you've set for them. Be creative. Avoid monotony by changing the structure of your class. You can also teach through discussions, games, hands-on activities, and not just lectures. Encourage students to debate and enrich the subject matter with different kinds of visual aids. You can do different colorful charts, videos, diagrams, PowerPoints. A lot of times you can show movies that are effective and that can illustrate the different topic or themes that you're trying to teach. There are many different science and history movies out there too. And if you are doing English or literature, you have your Hamlet and your Shakespeare for a lot of those videos as well. Your physical classroom should never be boring. You always want to use posters and different kinds of models, projects, themes that can go to the different holidays or seasons coming up. Make it bright and warm, and you want to stimulate the students, but you don't want it to be over-stimulating. And then last, draw connections to the real life. When will I never ever need this? This is something we've all said and we've all done. Some of us still think we question it, but it indicates that a student isn't engaged. If the student doesn't believe that their learning at that time is important, they won't want to learn. So it is important for us to demonstrate how the subject relates to them and how they can use it in the real world. If you're teaching math, take some time to show how it's used in the real world, especially when you're older. Different engineering, nanoscience, a lot of your science fields and medical fields, it's important to know math. So get it out there and show them how important it truly is. And then behavioral problems with motivation. Behavioral management is so much easier when the students take the ownership of their own choices and incentives in your classroom. You can redirect them as a teacher, and is also a lot easier. You can silently gesture to the bulletin board or different punch cards you have, or anything that you're doing for motivation. And if they're doing good, like punch cards, hall pat, things that hang, does the trick. You can point to it, they can see it as a visual thing that's out there. You can find motivation for each student that will help them strive to have better behavior. There are 6 motivational styles: prizes, candy, stickers, those little fake tattoos, bouncy balls, prestige, name on the announcements, at awards assemblies. That always seems to get a lot of kids. Power, getting to be the teacher's helper, a line leader, different projects. They can have the choice in the learning activities. People, they can have extra recess, working in a group with friends, and then praise, high five, verbal recognition. You want to learn your students and what actually motivates them, because prizes may work with some of your students and not with the other ones. So learning them and what motivates them is key in helping them succeed. And then again, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement doesn't always work, and positive reinforcement does, and redirection. Punishment and extinction, they're all parts of behavioral plans with motivation that you need to see what works with each student and how you can get them, with positive reinforcement if at all possible. A quote I found really neat by Stephen Covey was, "Motivation is a fire from within. If someone else tries to light that fire under you, chances are it will burn very briefly." So they can start that fire, but you as an individual have to keep it going, and that's what we want to see in our students. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I welcome any feedback. Have a nice day.